Whoa, it's been a while since I've done an update. Let's get right into this. I'm going to show you all of the mobs that I have so far, and I'm also going to spitball some ideas to you guys as I'm going. So far, let's just go through the spruce biome. For now. Now this has got most of the default mobs: Enderman, Creeper, Spider, Zombies, Skeleton, and the Ender Menace, which we've seen before. Let me know what you think of this collection of mobs because they only really appear in the spruce forest, and you can see how the other biomes will vary. Let's take a look at the jungle. Now this is where things get a little bit different. There's going to be some cave spiders there. Might be a bit controversial, but take a look at the spawn rates. I want you, actually, go into a jungle, set the time to night, and see how frequently spiders actually spawn, because these cave spiders are going to be replacing the spiders. Do you think that's going to be overpowered? Let me know. Now screw it, I'm going to do it for you. Jungle, more world options, we'll make a customized world, and we are going to set the jungle to jungle. There we go. Create a new world, let's do this. I shall give myself infinite night vision if you don't mind, and I shall set the time to night. Alright, let's fly around and see how many spooters we can see. So flying around, we can't really see that many. Now I have to do this in creative mode, otherwise the spawning rules change. Let's see. I don't really see anything significant at the moment. We've got some Endermen and Creepers. Cows, chickens. Oh yeah, I gotta do the passive mobs at some stage. Not this update though. Next update for sure. What do we have over here? We've got some sheep. Not getting many hostile mobs. Not getting many spiders specifically. So, okay, we've got a creeper. That will be a silverfish there if this was the Tempest box. Skeletons here. Zombie. Still no spiders though. So I think the actual amount of cave spiders will be really low by the looks of things. I mean, because spiders are bigger, so their spawning requirements are a lot harder to fulfill in this case. So here we've got another zombie, more zombies. Yeah, again, no spiders. So there you go. Then we're going to have some silverfish, creepers, and this new mob, Cichitas. Let's take a look at what it is. Now I haven't actually animated the walking yet, but this is the general idea. Oh, I need to give the eyes a proper texture. But there you go. Now this thing, it doesn't really have any special abilities. If you have an idea for one, let me know. Now a lot of people have been asking me, Dragon, why so many bugs? Well, because they're flexible. I can use this in another biome if I really wanted. Also, the model is distinctive, definitive, and I don't really have to explain their behavior. I can just say, hey, they do poison because they're a bug. That's what they do. Oh, I gotta take a big breath. The Nether, yes, our favourite. Now it's got the usual cast of mobs, except the Nether Knight, which we've all seen before, except this one is going to climb, because I'm sick of people pillaring up. The Nether Knight is supposed to be hard, it's supposed to be brutal, it's supposed to make the Nether seem like the Nether, a scary place. It's supposed to be scary. Anyway, then the Nether Knight, if anyone doesn't remember what it looks like, there you go, need to animate it again. Oh, and by the way, I might remodel this just to fit in with the Minecraft textures a little bit more. Yeah, I don't really know how to do that though. Okay, the Lost. Now I personally like how weird it looks, but I can see why other people might object to that. If you have any suggestions on how I can improve this weird model, let me know. As for its behavior, not much. It's just like a zombie replacement, and if you attack it, pigmen won't get angry at you. It's just so something that's not a Nether Knight can attack you in the Nether and be a threat on the ground. The Oak Forest, probably the most underrepresented biome of them all. I'm gonna have to do something about that. But we get our I'll come back to that. There's going to be spiders and creepers. I've removed these skeletons and the zombies. Might replace them with some bull ants. Maybe that might be the best course of action. Anyway, we have our ogre, which we've all seen before. Then this new mob, which I haven't actually textured yet, but you get the general idea of how it looks. Now this thing, it's quite rare. I think it's replacing witches, so it's about as rare as witches. Oh geez, it's not actually supposed to be jumping that high. It's a bit weird. Let's take a look at its attack, because I would really love your feedback on this, because I can't really think of any alternative method for this. I want to make it so it kind of like shoots vines at you, and the vines slow you down in the process of that happening. Wow, it's not doing it very often. But for now, I've got it so it just encases you in some leaves, and if you're really, really close, then you get poisoned. So I would really love your feedback on that. The leaves don't replace anything except air, but if there's an alternative method that we can come up with, I would really love to hear it, because I don't think this is the best. I think we can do better than this. Actually, I just had an idea. What if it summons a bunch of vexes that have leaf blocks on them, and they kind of swarm in and poison you? That would be cool. Maybe. Let me know. Ice mobs! Not much is going on here yet again. So we've got our Yeti and our Blight and our Stray as usual. Now, this is not a bug. I'm trying to defend it as not being a bug. It's supposed to be like a frozen turtle thing. It used to look a bit cute, but then I gave it an angry face, and it's not as cute as it used to be. So this thing rarely slows you down. It replaces, or it actually complements zombies, I should say. So these guys, yeah, there's not really much to say about them. They just fit in with the ice biomes, I think. And then finally, I couldn't really think of a good replacement for a zombie, except Frozen Zombie. It's called a Count at the moment, but I'm going to rename it to Frozen Zombie. I was trying to be creative and such, but I think, that's loud. I think Frozen Zombie is better. Last time I didn't actually get time to finish showing off the last of the cave mobs, so let's do that. This thing here is a Haven Witcher. It spawns very, very close to the bottom of the world, so it's more like a void mob. Okay, so let's try and take a look at its special abilities, because this might shock you. Yeah, oh yeah. So it does that sometimes, but it's mostly a melee mob. It's got fire resistance, of course, but yeah, sometimes it will just fly up and shoot fireballs at you, which I think is pretty cool, but I think that might also be quite controversial. This has a lot of health, a little too much health. It's also very loud. Oh, what? Okay, well that's a bug. Yeah, I thought so. Anyway, let's take a look at the next mob. That's a spider. Oh, that's from the desert. The Dwindler. This thing is terrifying. This spawns rarely closer to the surface of the cave, and I think it looks a little bit blocky. This is Minecraft, but even for Minecraft standard, it is a little bit blocky. So that's a Dwindler. Now, I made it a wither skeleton just so it suits its cloak a lot more, and also it looks quite animated since it's not invisible, and yeah, I think it looks okay, especially with the particle effect, might be better. So yeah, that's a Dwindler. It replaces skeletons, basically. Duskblood, we've seen before, and then finally, this is the new Wanderer. Once the glowing goes away, you'll be able to see what it actually looks like. But it works and behaves like a standard Wanderer, except it now uses an area effect cloud. The reason for that is just so I can have 4 times less commands. So this is what the Wanderer looks like. You can see it has a very slightly animated texture. Yes, it does the same kind of stuff that it used to. So about the vexes, let's see how this works. So I'm just going to go into game mode 0. This command here just says if I'm within a radius of 3 of the vexes, then I get slowness. This one here summons a bunch of vexes. Let's see what happens. How threatening is this? Okay, so they don't actually get time to attack me. That's fine. All I really wanted is the poison attack anyway. I don't really want the vexes to have standard vex behavior. But it's good to see that it actually does have some kind of effect on me. Oh, that time it got me. I'm not too concerned, seeing as though it's very rare. So I might actually give the new mob... Oh, I never actually pronounced it. It's Mozron, as in like Mosrun, but Mozron. I need to change this. Suggestions, please. Now, I know I like to go on these tangents a lot, but I like to do this in my TTB episodes because it just gives me a chance to slow down and just express my thoughts here. And I was thinking, you know what? I activated that Vex command quite a bit, and I've never really felt the need for a for loop in Minecraft before because there are currently already 2 ways of doing it. Let's say I want a particular command to loop 10 times. Okay, so there's a few ways of doing this. One is just to have 10 of the same command and put them together. So this isn't actually always active. So it only activates when you press the button. And of course you can do things with area effect clouds and such, but then you end up with this long chain. Doesn't really work very well in a structure or a one command or anything like that. So I tend not to use them, except I might for this case. Who knows, I might start using these a little bit more. And then you get this one, which is a lot more compact, a lot more efficient. Okay, so I press the button and it runs this command 10 times. And this is the actual command that does the loop. But I'm thinking this command here is always running, and it's causing unnecessary calculations, which shouldn't be there. It should only really be running when it actually gets activated, as you can see with this one. So it's not really a big deal, but in the Tempest's box, it is, because every time I add one of these commands which are always running, it's an issue, and it's just one less feature that I can add for something else. It's a performance cost, and every time I add something which creates more performance issues, then less people can play on the Tempest's box. So I was thinking, what if there was like a yellow command block, which is called a loop command block, and you can set how many times it loops when you give it some kind of initial activation. I know it's probably never going to happen, seeing as though there's already ways of doing things in the game, and Mojang tend not to add things unless they provide new functions. So I understand why they wouldn't spend their time doing that, because it only really caters to me, and it just makes things work a little bit differently. So yeah, I just thought I'd throw that thought out there. Might end up using something like this in the future. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on this idea. I'd love to hear your insight. Changing the topic just a little bit, I've thought about the spirit gems thing for a while. Basically, you throw this down and kablooey. This is going to be a model of the gem, and I'm going to transpose it so it will appear here, and I'm going to make it so you can see exactly what stage the gem is at. So after a while, this is actually a squid here, so it just dies on its own, which means that I can actually set up some guardian towers nearby and just say that they're tempite lasers or something, and then they should shoot here. But I am having a little bit of problems because the guardian actually cannot see the squid because it's invisible, obviously, so I'm going to have to create a workaround for that somehow. So for now, we can just kill the squid like so. I need to try and make it so the player cannot just kill the squid like this, or maybe I could just leave it in and say, hey, you can accelerate it by tampering with it, but it will eventually just die automatically. And I also need to make it so you can collect it somehow. But I'm thinking just set the pickup delay to instant, and we'll set the despawn timer to maximum. That way you won't need to set up a collection system for it, and the gem will appear nicely. And then once the squid dies, depending on its death loot table, which is the initial gem, it will drop a gem which has a spirit, which is based on the properties of the initial gem that you put inside. Now I wanted to share some thoughts here. I don't know where I was going for this, but anyway, it's not going to be released next update because this update is already taking a long time as it is, but basically you're going to be able to find some kind of statue. And it's going to be the same statue every time. I'm starting to brainstorm which statue would be best. But basically, what there's going to be is there's going to be 4 unobtainable blocks missing. Alright, and around the statue will be the 4 blocks, and the idea is that you grab those blocks and you return them here. They're only used for this purpose, and once you return them, you right click with your spirit staff and you get some kind of random reward. Maybe the shrine will give you healing every time you go near it, or an absorption boost, I don't know, but the idea is once you get all 4 blocks and put them back, I mean they could be anywhere, and provided the structure is built exactly like this, and it will be half buried in the ground as well, you will get a reward. And this is basically to encourage something which I think is an element of the game which is overlooked, and that is archaeology. Now I know it's not really archaeology, but basically it encourages you to mine out the area and use logical reasoning to think of where the blocks are. Now what is that logical reasoning? Well, there's going to be clues in the statue for where the blocks actually are, and they'll be within 50 blocks of the statue anyway, and that includes the y-axis and the X and Z axis as well. How I'm actually going to go about it, well, I've figured out 90% of it already. But again, if you have any feedback about that idea, I would love to hear it. But that's going to be released not next update, but the one after that. In fact, a lot of the features that I planned here will be cut short and will be reserved for next update. For example, I had some mobs planned for the end and the roofed forest. I'm not going to do those anymore. I'm just going to stick with the mobs that we currently have, just so I can get this update out sooner. I've also plotted out this dungeons world where I have plotted some of the your wonderful submissions here. So these are all the desert structures that people have submitted. Obviously I'm not going to be able to include them all, but I'll point out some of my favorites anyway, and I'll talk about how you can submit more dungeons. There's a Discord which I want you guys to visit, because I think Discord is better than my email, but I'll link that to you guys soon. Now I wanted to talk about some of my favorites. I particularly like this one because it blends in with the desert probably the best out of all the structures. If I saw this in the desert, it would look like it belongs, and there's actually a little bit to this as well. It's got some 3D structure. I can put in some kind of custom mob. It's got chests, and it's just a nice mature size as well. I also quite like this one. This one's nice and small. I think it's something that you should regularly see in the desert, and I think that this kind of shrine should be what I was talking about before, where you have to find the 4 special blocks and then you right click with your spirit stuff and something happens. It just looks like it should serve some kind of function. And now I'll quickly go over some of the more impressive ones. This statue is pretty cool here. And we've also got this giant church tower thing, and I'll just give you a quick look at what it looks like inside. This here was made by MassMeno. In fact, I've got everyone credited here. So this is MassMeno. This one here is Spectrum Day, and this one here is Lolax69. Let's go over here and I'll talk about the one that I quite liked. This one was made by Siren XL. This clock tower here, which I think is very creative. I'm going to change this to concrete blocks. This was actually built before the 1.12 update, so we're using wool just for the time being until I go around and do my edits. This one's MassMeno as well, so these are very large structures, so they're obviously going to have to be the rarest, but these nice small mature builds that we have over here, these will be a little bit more common. Anyways guys, the Discord is in the description. Just drop by, say hi. If you have something to submit some screenshots. Those are important because I don't want to spend too much time looking at things that I know I'm not going to include, and I would like to see some structure files, and they have to be within the 32 by 32 limit. And I've also got some rooms up here. The 7x7s are actually done, so we don't have to worry about those. But these rooms here, these are 9 by 9 by 6 high. And you can see how many I need to fill out there. These here are 11 by 11 by 6, and these are 15 by 15 6. Anyway, all will be explained once you go into the Discord below. So I was just about to end the episode there, but then I thought I just want to talk about some of your suggestions for the Tempest's box. You can make suggestions to www.reddit.com/r/dragon14, and if you have a Reddit account, then you can make some suggestions there, and then if people like your idea, they can give it an upvote, so I'm more likely to see it. If they don't like your idea, then they'll give you a downvote, and then I probably won't see it. No, I will, because I don't get much traffic here, so I'll see it either way. But let's take a look at these. So let's just see, we'll start with the custom mob variants. I don't have many ideas for variants right now, but there could be mages with different colored robes that have different magic attacks, for example. Now, my only problem with this is every time I add a new mob, it actually creates a lot more impact on performance, which is why I don't go for very small differences between mobs, because if I add a new mage with a different colored robe, sure, that's not a lot of work, but it is a hefty performance cost, which is why I generally try and keep things as diverse as I can. Wand of Moses, let's see. Now firstly, we have to make the assumption that the Minecraft universe is not set in our universe, and therefore the Minecraft universe has their own sets of gods and things that are not related to the ones that we live in. So I would like to try and keep real life religion out of it as much as possible. So I'm a bit thingy on the whole Moses thing. Okay, let's see. The wand will clear a path of water in the direction you look. I can't really think of any uses for that, to be honest. And here, when you drop the wand, he will turn into a snake. a new mob which can poison the player but not the one who dropped the wand. Again, that's only really useful in multiplayer, and it doesn't really work against undead mobs either. Also, that's a lot of work for just a poison ability as well, so probably won't see that. Underground event suggestion. This was suggested before I actually added those events, so we won't worry about those. New desert demon boss. I've already got that planned, so I don't have to look at that. Actually, you know what, I will. It spawns at a desert altar after doing a ritual. No, you're going to find him in the structure. Like a giant made of sand. Isn't a full body, it's like he has a body, arms and head. He attacks like throwing sand at you. Okay, so that's a good idea. Causing a sandstorm during battle and summons miniature demons that attack you. I want to try and avoid minions because I think that's such a cliche in boss fights. You know, minions, explosions, fire, wither effect. I don't really want to use those. So let's move on. Hailstorm. Ice particles fall from the sky and sometimes ice blocks. This will do a lot of damage to the player. The ice can also put out torches. Now, I don't like the fact that it can damage the environment, but yeah, definitely things that can fall and hit the player and you have to take shelter. That will be good provided I can give the player enough warning and I can actually implement it. The Stalker will be seen randomly around your world. Upon getting close, he will disappear without a trace. Seems a little bit complicated already. A glitched version of Steve. I don't think it really fits. Also doesn't have a complete body that was transmitted when he was generated. It just seems a little bit too weird for that, I think. A final boss suggestion. I've already got a final boss, so we won't worry about that. Encountered glitch. Actually, you know what? I should probably take a look. Okay, just looked again. It's just got a lot of cliches in a boss fight that I'm trying to avoid. Suggestion: achievement for killing the Decree. Yeah, why not? Okay, new mob, Rock Lobber. This should be good. Carries a large rock that can throw at you, stunning an area of effect attack. If it hits a block, it will break that instead. That's going to be hard to code. Yeah, I would if I could. Maybe soon let us submit mini nature structures like this. Yeah, go ahead. So yeah, I've picked a few. I'm not going to go through all of them obviously, but hopefully now you guys will be able to see what I'm looking for when I see suggestions. But again, all of that is actually explained on the Discord as well. But anyways guys, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.